These are the impacts of climate change, overharvesting of commercial marine fisheries. So, part one is the state of fisheries. Why are commercial fisheries an issue? Part two is biological trends. How does temperature currently affect the oceans? Part three is the carbon loop. How does carbon flow in the oceans? Part four, global impacts. How will climate change affect the world's oceans? Part five is local impacts. How will climate change affect specific areas of the ocean? And part six is the future. How do we prevent negative effects of climate change in the ocean?
All right, part one, issues and evidence. The state of fisheries. Why are commercial fisheries an issue? So currently, what's wrong with fisheries is that 37% of all fish are overfished. And there are also issues with sustainability. 21% of high demand fish stocks that include salmon, trout, carp, and cod are unsustainable. And 38% of niche fish stocks are unsustainable.
So, biological trends. How does temperature currently affect the oceans? So, right now, oxygen in the oceans is decreasing. Warmer water holds less oxygen, so fish can't breathe as well. Fish are getting more stressed because their prey is migrating north due to hot water. And the effects of this is that are less sustainable.
The carbon loop. How does carbon flow in the oceans? All right, so first of all, fish die, right? And so the carcasses, like all living things, are made of carbon and they fall to the bottom once they die. And so once at the bottom, the carbon is trapped in the ocean for a long period of time. And removing fish from the water means less carbon is trapped at the bottom of the ocean.
Okay, these are global impacts. So, how will climate change affect the world's oceans? So, right now, there's a huge population loss in fish. There's a 4.1% loss in sustainability of all fish species in the ocean in the last 80 years. Sustainability is disappearing. This 4.1%, is growing exponentially. So here we see that around 235 populations experienced a net loss in maximum sustainable yield over the last 80 years.
Local impacts. How will climate change affect the specific areas of the ocean? All right, so we're going to take a quick little deep dive into the Hawaiian green turtle species. And the issue was the population collapsed between the 20th and 21st centuries. Researchers from Duke University and Arizona State University concluded that the populations fell due to one, disruption of the food web due to overfishing, and two, the prey were driven out of the Hawaiian waters due to increasing water temperature. The Hawaiian green turtle population has struggled to recover for over 50 years. And in our second deep dive, we went over whales in the Gulf of California. The issue was the overharvesting of prey, which was causing the endangerment of predators to migrate away from protected zones. Researchers from the Marine Mammal Institute tracked the sustainability of small fish that are at the base of the food web. They found that one, a resource vacuum is created when basic food is removed from the food web, and two, blue whales and fin whales must migrate out of the marine protected areas of the Gulf of California to search for food. More and more whales are increasing their risk of ship strike and illegal fishing.
So these are part two. Like, what are our solutions to this?
Mhm.
So, chapter six, the future. How do we prevent the negative effects of climate change in the ocean? Well, first, the future. It's a win for some specific species that do benefit from traveling north away from predators into colder areas up further north. And then it's mostly a loss because boats have to travel a lot further to reach fish populations, which is increasing carbon emissions. And fish populations are still on an overall continued decline due to rising sea temperatures. Now, here we can see that most of these effects are in the northern hemisphere, especially in the North Atlantic, close to close to Europe. There's also quite a bit of disturbance near Japan and up in Alaska.
All right, so solutions. First, we have policy and engineering, both political policy per country and international. And engineering breakthroughs are the best ways to mitigate the effects of overfishing combined with climate change. So we can implement more marine protected areas and smaller catching seasons, which will result in the mitigation of the effects of overfishing. And ongoing efforts from around the world will eventually reduce the rate of climate change, which will help reduce the effects of overfishing as well. And in terms of engineering, many fish are unsustainable. Many fish are unsustainable and are accidentally caught up by fisheries. New nets and traps designed to only catch specific species would help reduce the effects.
Now, as a summary, biology in the carbon loop. So overharvesting fish removes carbon trapped in the ocean. Climate change causes fish to migrate away from fisheries, meaning boats have to travel further. Now, significant impacts of overfishing and climate change is an overall 4.1% decrease in sustainable fish stocks. And local areas like the Gulf of California are experiencing near extinction events with whales. And for the future, with solutions to overfishing and climate change, fish sustainability will continue to have a massive drop for the majority of marine species. However, we can implement policy and engineering innovations to help mitigate the negative effects of climate change and overharvesting. Thank you.